Alright, so we're doing something that I haven't really done before today. And it's not because, well, let's be honest, YouTube's comment section is a cesspool of negativity. I mean, the comments are the worst sometimes. Most of you guys are good, actually, but sometimes the comments are pretty bad. Now, you've seen what I do. I'll go back and forth with people. I'm not afraid to do that. However, I don't want my family to have to experience any negativity, so I don't really put them on the blog that much. Today's different, though, because I'm talking about taking your kids backpacking for the first time. Kind of hard to do that without showing kids. So, let's go backpacking. Who's the leader?
Better? Tighten it up.
What do you get for winning, for being the first to the top? Alright, so this is a little video all about backpacking with your kids for the first time. It's something I've always wanted to do, but I kind of wanted to ease them into it so they wouldn't hate it for the rest of their lives. I wanted them to have a positive experience with it. So I say taking your kids backpacking for the first time. This is actually the second time my daughter Addison has been. The first time I did video it and did these same tips. It was back in the spring, but I accidentally formatted the card and couldn't get the footage back. I tried with some recovery software and it was really cruel because it said it was recovering the files for about an hour, and then when I opened them it was pure static. Anyway, so this is take number 2. I'm going to try not to delete this data this time. But like I said, we've had now 2 successful trips backpacking. So I want to go over some things that we have done that have kind of, I think, made it easier and allowed her to have a good time. Now, the first thing is, I would say, practice. I think when she was about 3, I started doing car camping trips. I would go once in the fall and once in the spring. And these were relatively close to home, so that if anything went wrong in the night, we could go home and sleep in our own beds relatively quickly. Now, some people will say, camp first time in your backyard, and you may want to give that a try. I didn't want to do that because I think that the temptation of the house being right there would have been too much, and if she'd woken up during the night, she would have wanted to go inside. So I went about 30 minutes away from our house, and we car camped. And that allows you to bring tons of creature comforts along without having to worry about carrying it in on your back. So I would say ease them into it, ease them into the feel of camping, getting used to the sounds, getting used to, you know, you're going to be a little bit dirty when you go to bed. Just acclimating them to it is really beneficial. So I want to say that we did at least 3 of those trips, maybe 4. And like I said, I started when she was 3 years old. Took a huge air mattress. What else did we take? A potty seat. Very important because I didn't want to wake up in the middle of the night and go all the way to the campground bathroom. So I would say car camping first. Ease them into sleeping outside. Do it close to home, just in case there is something that you just don't think they're going to make it through, and that'll get them used to sleeping outside. Alright, so my second tip is going to be the same as business. Location, location, location. We're in the Smoky Mountains right now, and this particular campsite is a 1-mile hike from car to campground. It's the shortest hike into any of the backcountry campsites, and it's also relatively flat. This way, if you anticipate maybe having to carry them a little bit, it's not going to be too hard on you, as well as it's not going to be hard on them. She's 5 right now. We did our first backpacking trip to this exact same campsite when she was 4. So the distances that they can hike, obviously much less at that age. Now, the first time we did it, I did have to carry her out maybe the last quarter of a mile. She made it all the way in and all the way back out except for that last quarter mile. One thing I forgot to mention in the first tip, as well as practicing going camping, is to take practice hikes. I knew that she had about a mile in her at the time we did our first trip, and sure enough, she made it a mile. The next day, she didn't sleep quite as well the night before, so she couldn't make it the full mile out. Carrying her was no big deal because, again, I had planned for it. So always plan for your location. Don't make it too strenuous on them, just in case, and don't make it too strenuous on yourself, just in case you have to do a little bit of carrying on the way out. All right, tip number 3, involve them in the process. They're going to be much more attached to it. Whenever we were planning for our first trip, Addison, we went to an outdoor store. I let her pick out what food she wanted. I think she got lasagna, but her biggest thing was one of those dehydrated ice cream sandwiches, which actually not that bad. I sampled it. Involve them in everything that you can. We picked up some of those REI camp chairs. I let her pick the color. Just right now, over my shoulder, you can tell that she's throwing little sticks on the fire. Make them a part of the process. That way they're going to be more invested in it and more likely to enjoy themselves. All right, tip number 4, and some of you may not like this, but I think it's really beneficial, and that is, I'm going to say bring electronics. Now, I know the purpose of getting outside is to explore, be out of nature, get away from all that, and that's great. That's what we're going to build toward with our backpacking trips. But the first few times, you want them to be as comfortable as possible so that they get a good feeling about it. Those memories you build as a child are very, very powerful. They stick with you.
You're a big girl.
And they're going to be much more likely to want to go backpacking again if they had a good experience. There's going to be dead times in the campsite, things they can't help with when you're cooking, filtering water, things like that. And electronics are a great way to waste time. Download a movie, put some music on, just bring some creature comforts from home of the electronic variety, and get those first few outdoor experiences ones that they enjoy. So tip number 5, my final tip, is going to be manage your expectations. If you are an avid backpacker, this is not going to be like your normal backpacking trips. Sleep at night. Little ones are more likely to toss and turn. You're probably not going to sleep very well. Everything is going to be more difficult. You're going to have to take them to the bathroom. Also, manage your child's expectations. There's probably going to be a point where they get scared or cry or whine, and we all know our own children, so when to kind of have them push through it versus, okay, maybe this is something that we're going to need to go home from. So manage your expectations. If you're an ultralight backpacker, this is not going to be an ultralight trip. It's just for a single night stay. I think my pack was over 50 pounds. I brought things like chairs, a huge air mattress. Her sleeping bag is not the lightest thing in the world. So this trip is not going to be like your normal backpacking trip. However, you're going to make memories that are going to last with you, obviously, and especially with your kids. Just watching in the background playing in the fire. Like I said earlier, these memories they make when you're young in particular are powerful, and it's going to pay huge dividends later on in life. They will remember it and they will appreciate it. So, manage your expectations. Don't expect it to be the most peaceful or lightweight trip you've ever made, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. All right, guys, if I left anything out as far as your experiences backpacking with kids, let me know. Leave some tips and comments down below of things that you've worked on, that you've tried backpacking with kids for the first time. This is, like I said, our second time, but the first trip went really smoothly. This trip went even better, so we're just building that foundation for longer and longer trips. Hopefully in the future. I won't push her too hard, but I hope hopefully it's something she'll enjoy going on with me for many, many years to come. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. And we'll see you next time.
I spy something.
Bonus tip. Play I Spy on the hike out. Especially on the uphill portions, it will distract them. And when I Spy breaks down, 21 questions is an excellent substitute. You'll get back to the car and they won't even know they've hiked. Need to fill. And electronics is a great way to do that. Focus. Nothing is working. It's not focusing. It's focusing on trees, but not me. I got plenty of B-roll for this.